She used to wake up before the sun, tie her hair back, and quietly step into hotel rooms with a cart full of supplies. Nobody knew her name. She was just the cleaning lady to most. Day in, day out, she scrubbed floors, made beds, and cleaned up after people who barely even noticed she was there. But what no one saw was that while she worked, she was also watching, learning how the place ran, listening to guests, picking up on details that even the managers missed. She didn't complain. She didn't quit. She just kept showing up. Most people didn't take her seriously. Some even looked down on her. "That's not a real job," she once overheard someone say. But they didn't see her late nights studying hotel operations on her phone, or her saving every spare dollar instead of spending it. She was planning something bigger. And even though no one believed in her, she kept believing in herself. Years later, something shifted. A chance came, unexpected, risky, and completely out of her comfort zone. But this time, she didn't hesitate. And now, the same front desk where she once clocked in is where she now signs the paychecks. So how did she go from cleaning rooms to owning the whole hotel? What happened behind the scenes, and what almost made her give up? That's the story you're about to hear, and it's not what you'd expect. She got the job when she was barely making ends meet. A friend had told her the hotel was hiring housekeeping staff. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady work and she needed it. She remembered her first day clearly, quietly pushing the cart down long hallways, trying to be invisible, not wanting to make a mistake. Every room had a story, and every shift left her exhausted. But there was something about being there, even in the background, that made her curious. She started noticing how the front desk handled check-ins, how managers walked the floor, how the maintenance team tracked repairs. She didn't have a business degree or fancy connections. What she had was work ethic and questions. She asked them carefully. How do room rates work? Why are some guests moved to different floors? What's the difference between off-season and peak rates? Some of her co-workers laughed at her. "Why are you so interested? Just do your job and go home," they'd say. But she wasn't just working for a paycheck. She was collecting knowledge, slowly building a plan in her head. Outside of work, she took online courses late at night, watched videos about hospitality management, and read everything she could about running a hotel. She saved every tip, skipped unnecessary spending, and stayed focused. But just when she started to feel like she had a grip on things, something happened, something that almost forced her to walk away from everything she had started to build. The conflict started quietly. The hotel changed ownership, and with it came new management, sharp suits, colder smiles, and zero patience for mistakes. One by one, longtime staff were let go or pushed to quit. The energy shifted. What used to feel like a tough but steady job now felt uncertain. She could feel the pressure. Rumors of layoffs circled the break room. People whispered about who was next. Then came the day she was called into the office. Her heart dropped. The new manager, a man who'd barely looked her in the eye before, said they were restructuring. He offered her a smaller role, fewer hours, and said if she didn't like it, she could leave. Just like that. Years of dedication meant nothing to them. She walked out of the room trying to keep her face calm, but her hands shook. This wasn't just about pride. It was about survival. Rent, bills, her younger brother's school fees. All of it depended on her income. She could have taken the new position and just held on, but something inside her snapped. Not in anger, but in clarity. She knew she couldn't depend on others to value her potential. That night, she stayed up late again, but this time, she wasn't watching hotel training videos. She was researching how to buy a struggling business, and that's when she saw it. A small old hotel on the edge of town. For sale, cheap, but broken down, high risk, and she couldn't stop staring at the listing. She didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, the image of that rundown hotel came back. The paint was peeling, the lobby looked like it hadn't been cleaned in years, and the reviews online were brutal. But to her, it didn't look like failure. It looked like possibility. Still, the idea felt almost ridiculous. She was a hotel cleaner, not an investor. She didn't have a business loan or a team. Just savings she had scraped together over years, and a vision no one else could see. For the next week, she visited the property in secret, walking around the empty halls, taking pictures, talking to the one maintenance guy still working there. He told her the place was barely holding on. The owners were desperate to sell. It made her heart race. If she acted fast, she could negotiate. But if she waited, someone else could swoop in. Or worse, she'd risk everything and lose it all. She made a call to a local small business advisor. The man on the other end of the line didn't laugh, but he did hesitate. "It's a big move," he said, "and you'll need help." That's when she remembered Anna, a former front desk manager who'd been laid off during the transition. They hadn't spoken in months, but Anna had always treated her like more than just staff. She sent a message. "I have an idea. It's crazy, but I need you." And as she waited for the reply, her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Anna replied the next morning with 3 words that sent a rush through her chest. "Let's do it." For the first time, she didn't feel completely alone. The two met at a quiet coffee shop, spread out papers, photos, and rough numbers. Anna brought knowledge of hotel finances and booking systems, while she had the insight from the ground up. What guests actually cared about, what made staff stay, and how to stretch every dollar. Together, they started mapping out a plan to take over the struggling hotel. Just as things started to feel real, another shock hit. A local developer had caught wind of the property and was also putting in an offer, one far bigger than hers. The agent told her gently that offering cash. They want to tear it down and build condos. Everything started spinning. The idea that had gone from dream to plan was slipping through her fingers. For days, she couldn't focus. She thought about backing out. She didn't want to fight a battle she couldn't win. But then she got a call from one of the old hotel guests she'd once helped during a crisis years ago. They'd found her through a review site. "You once went out of your way to help my family," the woman said. "If there's anything I can do for you now, let me know." That's when she realized this wasn't just about owning a hotel. It was about what kind of place it could become. But the clock was ticking, and the offer deadline was closing in. The final decision came down to one meeting. She and Anna stood outside the real estate office, holding a folder with their business proposal, small savings, and a letter. It wasn't just numbers, it was her story. How she had once cleaned those same hallways. How she knew the hotel's potential because she had lived it. She poured everything into that letter, hoping the sellers would see more than just dollar signs. Inside, the owner of the property, a tired older man with a worn face, read through it slowly. Silence filled the room. Finally, he looked up and said, "I built that place from scratch. It used to mean something. I don't want it turned into condos." Then, after a long pause, he added, "If you promise to restore it, it's yours." Her knees nearly gave out. It felt like the world shifted in that moment. They signed the papers that week. The hotel was theirs. The first few months were brutal, fixing broken plumbing, repainting walls, convincing old staff to return. Anna worked late nights on the front end while she scrubbed rooms again, just like the old days. But this time, it was for her dream. Just when things started to settle, she got a call from her old manager, the same one who once tried to cut her hours. His voice was polite now. "We're downsizing. I'm looking for opportunities. If you hear of anything," he said. She smiled, surprised but calm. "Actually," she replied, "we're hiring." She didn't hire him right away. She told him she'd think about it, then went back to finishing a repair checklist for the newly reopened East Wing. The hotel had come back to life. Fresh paint, new bedding, smiling staff, and a full booking calendar for the summer. But it wasn't just about the business anymore. It was about the people who walked through those doors. Some were guests, some were staff, but all were part of a place built on second chances. Anna became her business partner officially, and together they created a training program for hospitality workers who'd been overlooked or underestimated. They hired people others had passed on, single parents, immigrants, folks starting over. She knew what it felt like to be invisible. Now she made sure no one on her team ever felt that way. Word started to spread. Local woman turns failing motel into boutique hotel success. One headline read. But what really mattered to her was seeing the housekeepers smile during staff meetings, hearing the front desk laugh with returning guests, and watching her younger brother study in the hotel office after school. Every now and then, she'd walk past a guest room, pause, and remember who she used to be. The girl who once cleaned these rooms quietly, head down, full of doubt, but also full of grit. She didn't just change her title, she changed the story. And for anyone else out there being underestimated, she'd just say this. Asterisk, watch what happens when you bet on yourself, asterisk.